Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review of The Tiger's Daughter by Arsenault Rivera, and I'm really excited to do this review because I think this is going to be a book that a lot of people talk about, and I feel like I don't know, it's going to be one of those books you either love or you either hate, I feel like. But yeah, let's just get into my thought. Let me first kind of start off by talking about what the book is about. It's inspired by East Asian cultures. There is a Mongolian-esque tribe of nomads. There's also a big heavy influence of Japanese culture and as well a little Chinese culture. But this follows two female warriors. One of them is part of the nomadic tribe, while another one is heir to the throne. So she lives a much more luxurious lifestyle than the other one, but they are best friends, and as the story progresses, there is this romance. So I'm really happy to see a story that has like females, really strong female characters, and also this girl-girl romance. I think the romance was done really well. It's a huge part of the story, but I don't feel like it's dominating the entire story, and it doesn't feel overly romantic or sappy in that way. So I think what really stands out about this book is the fact that there are strong female characters. Not only do you have the two main characters that are both warriors, they both have like these kind of magical elements to them. They both have magic and can do different things, like Suzuka, and she is able to like talk to and kind of manipulate flowers. And the other female, Barsali, I hope I'm saying her name right, is she can talk to horses, and they describe themselves as gods, and they're gonna do like these amazing things because in this world there are demons and also these black bloods. So if you are contaminated, if you touch the blood of a demon, you become like this black blood, which is kind of, I guess, similar to like a zombie. They're not really described much in this first book, so I'm sure in like the next parts of the series we'll learn more about what they are, but you become like this corrupted thing that basically terrorizes people. So they set out on a journey to kind of make a name for themselves by killing these demons, and it's cool. I just think I love how they're really strong and like very confident in their ability to fight and in their ability to like take care of themselves. But it's also cool that while we have these two main characters, there are so many other examples of really strong, independent women in this story, which I really liked. They're both of their mothers were also warriors and best friends, so that's kind of how the two of them kind of connect. But their mothers were very strong characters. There's also a lot of women in Barsali's tribe that are just very, like, I don't know, they're just very strong, and I just loved all the characters. I think the characters were done really well. This book does tend to be more character driven. So if you're expecting like a lot of plot and a lot of action, I don't think this is really the story, which is kind of different for a fantasy book, I think, because in a fantasy you're expecting a lot of that action, but this book is definitely more so about the characters. For instance, we follow these characters basically from the age 3 to like when they turn 18 and further, so you're getting a huge chunk of these characters' lives in a fairly short story. I'm not sure how many pages it is, but I think it's around like 500. So I mean, it's long, but not as long as you would think considering how much is covered in this story. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the structure, because I think that's one of the issues that you're going to either love or hate about this story, and it's one of the things that I didn't personally enjoy. So you start off the story following Shizuka's point of view, and she receives these letters from Barsali, and the main chunk of the story is depicted in these letters. So it's kind of in second person, but you're getting it from Barsali's perspective, and that kind of threw me off at the beginning because I was not expecting it, and it kind of takes you a while to get into that frame of mind, like, okay, I'm reading this, you're reading what's happened in the past. So you kind of get some distance away from the events, which I didn't really enjoy. If I'm gonna have a story, I kind of want to be in the present of when that story is happening, and unless the author has a good reason for giving me all of this, like, telling it to me in the past, and upon reading, like, the entire story, I didn't feel as if the author really justified her reasons for structuring her book in this way. So that was one of the issues that I had with it. I think really the only reason why the book was structured this way was to kind of add this, like, climax to the end, which I didn't think was worth it in the long run, but that's just me. I'm kind of nervous because the way the ending is set up, I feel like we're gonna have a very similar structure in the next book where we're being told past events, which I don't really enjoy. Like, if I'm gonna be in a story, I want to be there as it's happening, not being told the story in a story, if that makes sense. I don't know. But that was one of my biggest issues with this story, and I think that also kind of screwed up the pacing a little bit. The story is really slowly paced, though I don't feel like at any point I was bored about what was going on, but it's just definitely not action-packed, and the way it's written is just, I don't feel like it follows like a typical structure of you have your climax and then your, like, falling resolution. It just felt all very flat and of the same kind of tone. I don't know. It just didn't have the typical structure of a book, of a fantasy novel, in my opinion. But as far as her writing, I think it was beautiful. The way she writes is so spectacular, and I think when I first started this book, I was confident that I was gonna give this a 5-star rating just because of how beautifully the story is written. It's just poetry, and I absolutely adored it. It's not beautiful in a sense where there's some stories that are really beautifully written, but then you have to go back and be like, okay, what did I just read? Like, I don't know what, this doesn't make sense to me, but it sounds really pretty. But her story sounds really pretty, and it's also very approachable. Like, I don't feel like none of the concepts or none of her themes really went above my head, and it's a very universal book. I feel like anybody could really get into it and enjoy the writing. It's not overly descriptive, but I don't know how to describe it. It was just a good flow. I really enjoyed her writing. My other, I guess, big concern about this book is after doing a lot of research, because she is taking a lot from East Asian cultures, a lot of people were saying that the representation isn't that great. And as someone who really enjoys East Asian cultures, and if I was born in another lifetime, I would definitely want to be born in, like, Japan. But I don't really know a ton about, like, East Asian history. But this book didn't feel, in my opinion, it didn't feel like it was doing injustice to these cultures. I don't think she intentionally tried to misrepresent East Asian cultures at all, but I mean, I don't have an authority to really say if what her writing was offensive or not. So I will put a few links to some reviewers that have more authority on this topic that can kind of that kind of like detail out some of the things that were misrepresented or just flat out wrong about her story. While I do see that it can be hard trying to get a culture exactly right, especially when you're not from that culture, and I do give her credit as being a Latina woman who is queer, to go and write this story is amazing. Like, the fact that it's getting any reputation is great, but I still think she needs to, if you're gonna write a story about a different culture, you need to do your research and you need to represent that culture well, because as someone who is part of a marginalized group, you know what it's like to have misrepresentation. So I feel like people of marginalized groups need to be very careful about writing about other marginalized groups and making sure that they're representing that group to the best of their abilities. So that's one of my issues with this book. I don't know if the representation is good or not, but from what I've read of people that have more authority in this topic, that it wasn't as great. It wasn't very great. So that's kind of a concern with me. There's not a ton of reviews out about it yet, so I'd be interested in to see what people have to say once this book actually gets published. But yeah, hopefully she will see these issues that people are having and maybe hopefully make changes in the next couple of books, because it's sad to see a good book like this have a serious problem like this, because I think it is a big issue and it's disappointing. But in some respects, if you're a part of a different culture, it's hard to get to that culture. If it's hard to get that different culture exactly right. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see what other people have to say about the story. It seems like, though, towards the end of the story, we're gonna get some different cultures as well. I think there's gonna be like an Arabian setting in the next book. I could be wrong, I don't know, but it seems like that's what the vibes I was getting toward the end of this book, so that would be interesting. So it seems like she's gonna do more than just focus on these East Asian cultures and kind of go more into different cultures as well, which I will find pretty interesting. So yeah, and I think the issue is with her not representing this right is that because she wrote this book and it is getting publicity, it's almost taking away from East Asian writers that want to write about this thing that could represent it better but aren't given the opportunity to. So I think that's also an issue with this book. But I'm kind of nervous because I really like this story, but I don't really know if I want to read the second book if it's going to be told in the same structure as this book was. So that's a big issue to me. I don't know. I'm kind of torn with that because I love the story and I like where it's going. So I would be interested to know what the second book holds, but the structure just didn't do anything for me, and I just don't know if I'd be really interested in reading another entire book if I'm going to have to read it as like a retelling, I guess, of the events that happened in the past. I don't know. I just don't really like that idea. I think I will. I got this as in return for an honest review from NetGalley, so I just got an e-copy of it, but I think I will be buying an actual edition when it does come out. It comes out October 3rd, I believe. I will put the date down below as well. But yeah, I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's got really good potential, and I would be really interested to see what else she writes. Like, even if I'm not down with this series, I will probably pick up another book of hers later on. So yeah, I think she's a really great writer, and I'd be interested to see what else she has coming out. So let me know if you guys are interested in checking this book out, if you've heard a lot about the drama of the poor representation in this book. Please let me know of other reviewers that have reviewed it, because I'd want to know more about what people really think about the representation. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys with another video soon. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoy these videos and like seeing my face, please subscribe. I'm trying to make videos every week. We'll see. That's been a goal of mine for a really long time, and sometimes I keep it up and sometimes I don't. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.